Okay, what's up? I'm going to take 3 minutes here. I'm going to defend cooking because it is under siege from DoorDash, from delivery options, from supplements, from Soylent, from Chipotle, from fast food, from restaurants, whatever. People are forgetting to cook at home, especially young people. Gen Z, I'm a millennial, older millennial, 36. We sort of grew up with like, well, it's kind of easier and just the same price to go to Chipotle, or it's kind of easier and just the same price to go get Sweetgreens. First of all, it's not. Okay. Second of all, services like Blue Apron, these types of things, HelloFresh, they're not as cheap as the old school going to the grocery store and buying your ingredients once a week and using those ingredients. The model of everybody going to one central grocery store, picking your food up, and then going back to your house and cooking it is still more efficient than a box company individually sending you groceries. Okay. And that is because of shipping costs. So I would like to explain the 5 quick reasons why cooking at home makes the most sense still, okay? Number 1, you can batch together food, okay? So every Sunday, people make it out like you have to spend all day cooking if you want to batch together your meal prep. As I've talked about in a previous video, make a big pot of soup, or just roast off a bunch of chicken breasts, some sweet potatoes, make a pot of rice, section it out, and serve a different hot sauce or condiment with each day you eat that meal. Boom, you can make 15 servings and it'll cost you 25 bucks, okay? That's literally $2.50 or $3 a portion. That is nothing compared to price of Chipotle or Sweetgreens. By the way, people need to stop saying that Chipotle costs $10. It doesn't. That stuff costs 16, 17 bucks. Even if you just buy Chipotle these days, it's like 14, 15 bucks, and you're probably gonna hit up a drink, you're gonna add an extra. Believe me, look at your average orders at those restaurants, you are walking out the door for at least 16, 17 dollars. I'm talking about meal prep that puts your servings down to $3. So let's talk about number 2, what people are constantly worried about, which is time, the dishes, and the time. Okay, if you cook intelligently, if you actually really hate cooking, dishes are not a problem. You get a sheet pan and you roast off foods. You get a soup pot and you boil foods. Where dishes really come in play is actually cleaning the dishes of the people you're serving food to. So if you do a dinner party for 8 people, okay, that's where dishes come in. You're washing cutlery, you're washing dishes, you're washing glassware, but actually washing the products that you are cooking the food in, the pot and the pan, doesn't take a lot of effort, okay? So stop talking about that, that's fine. The third thing I want to do to defend food here is if you look at cooking as an actual beneficial, enjoyable activity, something you can learn. Let's say you're cooking a style of food you're interested in. Let's say you just like sitting outside in the backyard with a beer, sort of away from it all, cooking a bit of a steak. If you look at it like free entertainment, okay? It's actually pretty enjoyable. If you get into homemade pasta making, that can take an hour and a half or an hour. It's something to do with your hands. It's something to unplug. You put an audiobook on. You can talk to your family as you do it, whatever. But it's an activity. It's free, cheap entertainment. Versus, think of how expensive that entertainment is if you go to a restaurant. If you go to a restaurant, you could run a bill up of $50, $100, $150 in an hour, where you can make handmade pasta, or you can go outside and grill some vegetables and steaks, sit outside, chill out, drink a beer, and it's an hour. It is astronomically cheaper to eat at home versus going out for dining, okay? I talked about fast casuals like Chipotle and Sweetgreens, but if you talk about real going out for dining, the markup is usually 5 to 8% on the food you get. That means if you make a steak at home, it will probably cost you about $15, okay, for 2 people to eat steak. If you go to a restaurant, okay, you can times that by 5. You're looking at $75, $80 for 2 people to eat steak. So, not to mention tax and tip, which is now 20%. Don't get me started. So the fourth thing I want to talk about with food and cooking food at home is chances are you're making somebody else happy when you're doing it. I talk about this a lot on this channel, and when I defend cooking, when you cook for somebody, it's endearing. People appreciate it. You want to get out of the doghouse, you want to get in someone's good books, you want to say thank you to someone, you want to just be social. It is very, very difficult for someone to cook for you and then you as an individual think, I don't like that person. It does not happen. It's in us. It goes back to the gorillas and the cavemen and whatever. It's just in us. And the fifth thing, the last thing that I want to say in defense of cooking is just think about it for a second. Okay, all this new technology, all these new services that are fast casual, all these subscription boxes. I mean, we have a subscription box at Mantree. You know, we put different food products in, but these grocery subscription box, we got a baby down there. Think about this last point. All this stuff is new, okay? It's 15 years old, okay? Humans have been doing this stuff for thousands of years. It is in us to sit around a campfire and eat some food and talk to our tribe, talk to our family. Sitting at a table is important. It's good for society. So do it. Don't ignore it. Don't get so obsessed with your time that you're not cooking. Believe me, sometimes it's worth it to sit down, cook, and have a meal instead of free up a bunch of time so you can spend more time on social media and YouTube. Cheers.